First off, we're going to make some simple egg noodles, great for a stir-fryer soup. This is a family recipe, so there won't be a link in the comments, but it's pretty simple. All you need is eggs, flour, and salt. Every egg you use with the recipe is equivalent to a serving. Crack the eggs into your mixing bowl, add a dash of salt, and beat them enough that they won't separate out. Then start adding flour incrementally while stirring or folding your dough. What we're looking for is a sticky dough, and once you have that, you can start getting in there with your hands to try and get it into a workable dough. Feel free to add some more flour to try and make it a bit easier to work with. Really quick, if you want to step to the side and set a pot of water boiling now with a bit of salt in it, now's the time. Once you have it in a workable dough ball, turn it onto a clean and heavily floured surface. Flour the top of your dough ball, then flour your rolling pin and start rolling it into a thin layer. Every couple passes, be sure to lift your dough and reflour the work surface and turn it over. This will prevent it from excessively sticking. Once you have it flattened out to your desired thinness, essentially as thin as you can go, grab something and start cutting it into noodles. I prefer to use a pastry cutter because I'm already going to use it later to clean up, so it's a nice way to save a dish. The noodles, you can essentially cut them however you want, just make sure they aren't stuck to the table or each other, and you can toss them into your boiling water. Just give them a stir to keep them from sticking and wait a few minutes while keeping an eye on them to make sure they don't boil over. It should only take a few minutes for them to cook, and you can tell by them losing their bendiness and of course a taste test to make sure they're to your preferences. Remove the pot from the heat and drain your noodles immediately, and enjoy! Up next, we're going to make some pasta just for more general use, wherever you need a noodle, but we'll be using some fun tools, and this one will have a recipe linked in the description. First off, the rule holds true and each egg you use is the serving's worth, and all our other ingredients scale up in the same proportion. Now we're just going to crack our egg into our food processor, then we'll be adding just over half a cup of flour, a bit less than a teaspoon of olive oil, and a bit of salt. Then we're just going to pulse it for about 10 seconds to get a nice crumbly dough. If you don't have a food processor, just mix by hand, the same as our egg noodles. It'll just take a bit longer. Then we'll turn it out once again onto our clean and floured surface. Then just knead it for a minute or two until it forms a silky and relatively dry dough. Add more flour at this step if necessary. Then we just wrap it in plastic wrap and leave it to rest for half an hour. Now that we're back, we've got our lovely pasta maker set up and some water set to boil on the stove. Just start passing your dough through the roller on its largest setting, folding it a couple times to help even it out and stretch it. Then start sending it through and incrementally decreasing the thickness until you have your dough the way you'd like it. Then transfer your crank over to the side with the cutters and pass the dough through, creating some nice even ribbons of pasta. As you can guess, if you don't have a pasta maker, you would just roll it out and cut it the same way I showed you for the egg noodles. Now we're going to toss our pasta in the boiling water, same as before, and give it a stir so it doesn't stick. The cooking time will depend on how thick the noodles are, but it should only take a few minutes because fresh pasta cooks much more quickly than boxed. Once it's done, just remove it from the heat and drain it, and presto, that's pasta.